Hello everyone, hello. Sasarai here with some more gaming. We're actually starting up the Stanley Parable Deluxe Edition, or Ultra Deluxe. This game was purchased for me by Wintrigue for my birthday, and on the grounds that I play it on stream. Now, I normally wouldn't just slot in a game like that, even if somebody purchased it for me. But I did this time because the game's very short. It's only like an hour and a half long, something like that. Um, Now the Ultra Deluxe Edition might be a bit longer, I don't know, but it shouldn't take too long to get through this game. That said, it's supposed to be hilarious. I've heard a ton of good things about it. I hope that you guys will enjoy this as much as I hope to. So, yeah, she's been asking me to play it for a while as well, and then I was randomly like, well, buy it for me and I will. And originally I was going to throw it on the backlog, and she's like, I want you to stream it. Have you played the Stanley Parable before? No. Please adjust the slider until the computer is barely visible. Okay, well, I don't know what it looks like on stream for you guys. Okay, well, that's barely visible for me. Let's turn it up just a little bit, I guess. There we go. Please enter the current time. Okay, hang on. Oops. Give us a few seconds here and I'll hit it. Note, accessibility settings can be accessed from the main menu. Okay. This game has controller settings? Can I just play this with keyboard and mouse? Go translation labels, show color. Do you guys want any of this on? We'll adjust the volume as necessary. Let me know if I need to turn it down. Okay, WASD. Okay. Turn them all on. Alright, we're gonna begin the game, guys. Here goes. The end is never, the end is never, the end is loading.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
interact with things? Okay, E is interact. Cool.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Why can't I see outside? Why is it like just all light? This workplace looks miserable.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Fuck you, narrator.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
Hey, Mom.
Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it. At this point, Stanley's obsession with this room bordered on creepy and reflected poorly on his overall personality. It's possible that this is why everyone left. But at last, he'd had enough of the amazing room and took the first open door on his left to get back to business. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Do not lie. If you're lying right now, stop. The narrator's fantastic.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
Abdul?
This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
Mary. This is actually a Silent Hill game this whole time. The whole 9 minutes we've been playing. Oh shit.
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this. To reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
Okay. Can't pick up the phone. Oh, there we go. Okay, hey, let me.
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about
your day.
Oh
Gotcha! Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
That was rude. Also, why would somebody put a... What? What?
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
Good morning, employee. 427, press N on your keyboard.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence. Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life. But in his mind, in his mind he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful, and each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
Press H to watch TV.
And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly.
The couch in that changed. Interesting.
So he went further. He imagined that he came to 2 open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold.
Vector, I know the difference between you and 10 gauge. Press J to prepare dinner.
As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions, and down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable.
Press G to tell your kids a story. I have kids now?
It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time. But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one. And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
Please press P to be. I'm not doing it. Nope, sorry. I'm not pushing that button. L M G H A S D. Tales the Legendia character. This character's based on my brother. You know, watching a minute go by feels like an eternity when you're actually like watching it happen.
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
H to question nothing.
I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
Oh no, guys, AI told me to die.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
And so it begins anew. Monitors are on this time, though. They weren't on last time. Or if they were, I didn't notice. Awaiting input.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Alright, the suit's on the door on the left.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Meeting room, group. What to do about 432? Don't tell 432 about my meeting. Okay. Office party, pre-review of weekly review. Why do you need a pre-review? This box is too small. Weekly target admin. Ranking floors meeting. Floor 5 meeting. Tomorrow, complete today's unfinished agenda items. Write next day's agenda. Reflect. Targets. Push for funding for R&D of new coffee machine. Standard graph 40 times wide. Most cost efficient. Get Chris out of the broom closet. Synergize papers. Hire someone to synergize papers. Papers are too synergized. Fire paper guy. Hire somebody to fire the proper synergizing guy. Who moved my desk? Please keep targets on the topic of whatever that is. The future was yesterday. Tomorrow is now. What? EPS report. To do, synergize core value expenditures. Shift global market parade. Monetize free to play. Help, I'm a post-it. Can't read that. The lettering is too small. The stock market is somewhere here. Colored in segment. Stripes. Require more secondary research. What is hot? Target demographic, teenagers. What is hot? Profits, profits, profits. One of the profits is different. What do people want? Things. Happy feelings. Violet James, you are fired. Money. More money. Things, but with money to buy more things. Graphs. Graphs about things and money. We have our new product. Facts. Telephone directory. Bi-quarterly post-review review. We need less reviews. 402 plus 405 want to get rid of the death sport portion in the primary review schedule. But I think that's a stupid idea. More water coolers. More water cooler heaters. Charts need to be more hip to appeal to teenage demographic. Find teenagers to put in teenage demographic. Big net? Some sort of child trap? Teenagers. Size of demographic. Space between the teenagers. Throw something in the ideas bin. A lot of percentage. No more bins. Trash cans. Renaming of the idea bin. Firing of me. Ideas bin. Just for not getting fired. Talk less. Do unbelievably amazing work. Let it ball up inside you. Take it out passive aggressively on other coworkers. Resent coworkers for not supporting you more. Let it ball up inside you. Make sure your slide has a slick blue graphic on the header and throw some bevel on all text. That will ensure a calm and productive work environment. Using slides to ensure employees everything's okay. Everyone is unique. You most of all. Number of slides on this slide. Charts. Charts and slides. Slides. Rate at which charts on the same slide depict the same information. Rate of increase on graphs per side. Please, no more charts. Please, I'm begging. Stop. The Boss Appreciation Minute. On your Boss Appreciation Minute worksheet, circle the top 20 things you love most about your boss. Fill out and chip with it and return to your Boss Appreciation Specialist. Solving interpersonal conflict. If you find yourself in a conflict with another diligent employee like yourself, misspelled, but more inclined toward conflict, unless you were kind of person. Okay. What are your dreams for the future? Nature, success, transcend, spring break, less air, comatose, metamorphosis, clear skin, a boat, mitosis. Do the unbelievably amazing work all the time, every day, with no expectation of promotion or recognition. Don't get fired. Alright.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
I was hoping if we went back...
There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment and my wife and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay. Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black. This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy, this much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Listening.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
There was a mark on my mouse. I was trying to see if I could scratch it off, but it is not scratch offable. I like work, I just hate my boss. Are the mugs changing? Like, are they adding more of them? Who farted? One doesn't have a monitor on it. try. Surname, access. This one doesn't have a way to interact with it at all. Input, receive. We did it.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
You're going to be the exact same as the first time.
Wow. Yes. This room. What a beautiful room. What a gorgeous, gorgeous room. Thank goodness Stanley had taken this detour on his way to the meeting room. Life without having experienced this room was now too horrible even to consider. Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Try this. We haven't been in here yet.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track. But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here, it's, left.
Just a random direction.
Oh, no, it's to the right, my mistake. No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please? Now, let's see. We went down right, left, down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
Stanley died and some woman found him and then went on her way. We don't have a shadow. This game is too artsy-fartsy for you? I don't know about that.
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just have to get back to, oh, who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the top. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
I'm amused.
When Stanley... Wait, what? No, I restarted. I swear I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Oh, did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay, then. It's an adventure. Come, Stanley. Let's find the story.
Okay. Well, we're going to take just a quick moment here. Hang on a sec, guys. I hit escape. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come back and we will explore more of the story. Don't go anywhere.